Hi, friend. This is Alex McRobbs, founder of the Mindful Life Practice, and you're listening to the Sober Yoga Girl podcast. I'm a Canadian who moved across the world to the Middle East at age 23, and I never went back. I got sober in 2019, and I now live full-time in Bali, Indonesia. I've made it my mission to help other women around the world stop drinking, start yoga, and change their lives through my online Sober Girls Yoga community. You're not alone, and a sober life can be fun and fulfilling. Let me show you how.
Okay, here we are. We're live.
Awesome.
Yay. And I'm just going to mute this call, but I'll have it on in the corner so you can see if we have any questions coming up. So good morning, everyone in Sober Girls Yoga, or good evening if you are in North America. I am sitting here. It is 7:30 in the morning in Bali. It's 7:30 p.m. in Canada in Eastern Standard. I'm sitting here with Kristen, who is one of the yoga teachers for Sober Girls Yoga and the Mindful Life Practice. And I'm really happy to have you here. So how are you, Kristen?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to chat today.
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear more about your journey. And so you and I feel like we were connected on social media for like a while before you actually joined Sober Girls Yoga, because your name was like kind of familiar to me. How long were you connected to like the Mindful Life Practice and me before you jumped on and joined?
It's funny you asked that. I was thinking about that today. I think it was a good couple months, or if not half a year.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how I found you. But yeah, I started to follow you and then follow Mindful Life. And I was always kind of that person in the background, just like curious, but just kind of watching from afar for a bit. And then it really kind of took off from there.
Yeah. So tell me so you're watching from afar, and then what was it about the January time period or the January challenge? Actually, you know what, before I even get into that, why don't we start by you telling me a little bit about yourself, just so the community who's watching knows like where you're based and kind of a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So I am in Waterdown, Ontario. So just about 45 minutes out of Toronto. I've lived here for a while now. I'm kind of born and raised in Barrie. I have been kind of on this path of, I'm going to call it like a wellness, healing, spiritual journey for a good while now, probably 5 years. It's absolutely night and day different from my day job, but it's kind of been the focus of mine and something that I'm super passionate about. So in addition to kind of like yoga and that stuff, I'm also doing my course for a certified holistic nutritionist, because I really am just into nutrition and kind of just the whole well-rounded scope of wellness. So that's kind of me and my passions. I've been doing yoga retreats yearly for the last 5 years. And that's just, whenever I do that, that's just a really beautiful kind of escape for me. And then I'm always drawn towards that kind of realm.
Amazing. And those retreats have always been in Costa Rica, right? Is it the same? You're so similar to me in that place. Like I'll find one place that I like and I'm like, okay, I'm like going back every single year. This is it.
Creature of habit.
I love that. Cool. So then in January, you did the first, or your first 30-day Sober Girls Yoga Challenge. So tell us about that. Like what made you want to join the challenge at that point?
Yeah. So like I said, I was kind of watching from afar for a while. And I think I was at a point where I was feeling like I couldn't keep living how I was living. I lost my dad in 2018 to cancer. And I kind of just felt like stuck and lost after that. And so I just started in this really bad kind of pattern of just not coping or not dealing with my emotions and not letting them come up. And so I started to get into this just pattern of self-neglect and drinking wine as a way of coping with stress, or boredom or emotions that were trying to arise. And I just remember feeling so lost and so anxious and so depressed. And I was just like, okay, if I keep going this way, this is going to be my life. Like, this is all that it's going to be. I'm never going to feel fulfilled or happy or anything. Or I can step out of my comfort zone and try something that, what do I have to lose? Like, it's a 30-day challenge. Like, I can do 30 days. And so I had been watching, you had been posting about it for a while, and I was interested, and I can't recall if I messaged you or not, or if I just joined. But yeah, best decision I've made. That's for sure.
So amazing. And it's so amazing to think back, like, what month we're in, like the 8th month of the year. So like 8 months ago, we didn't even know each other. And like the way that, you do one thing and then it's just like a domino effect through your life. Like all of a sudden you're doing this and that, and you're in the YTT. And so now Kristen actually leads yoga classes as part of these 30-day challenges. So she's one of the like assistant facilitators basically with the challenge that's happening right now, which is so amazing to think that, like, we started here and now we're here. So tell us about like the journey from that 30 days onwards and like what kind of shifted in your life.
For sure. So the first 30 days that I did in January was just, I think the word I used then, and it's still the word I would use now, is it was really life-changing. I met some amazing people, some that like I'm still super good friends with today. And it brought about a huge sense of community, which I realized was something that was completely lacking in my life. And honestly, community does heal. Like, just having that safe space to talk was game-changing for me. And just people who didn't know you, but you formed connections with so quickly, like even like you were saying, you and I, and everything that we've now kind of traveled through. So I did the 30 days, and then I joined on to do the 60 days. And then I had already, before even joining the 30-day challenge, I had already committed to the YTT in Costa Rica in, I think it was like the summer of the year before. But I did as much of your YTT that I could possibly do before I was going to be away. So I think I was able to do the 4 modules, and that was just so amazing. And I actually feel very fortunate to see the 2 different styles of how a YTT runs, like virtually in the comfort of your own home, and then in Costa Rica. So I did that challenge, the 60-day, and then transitioned into your YTT. And then I went to Costa Rica for 3 weeks in May. And then I came back home. And I think I found one thing I learned about myself was like transitions are very challenging for me. And I think you and I talked about this before I even went to Costa Rica, about how, you're in this little bubble, and then you're kind of just brought out of that bubble, and then you put it back into real life. And that was hard. And I think, I kind of resorted to some old habits of coping through that. And like I think I've said this before, like I don't regret that, because there's lessons in everything. And so the lesson I learned is simply that transitions are challenging for me, and I need to prepare myself in other ways so that when those things arise, because transitions are everywhere in life, changes happening daily, having mechanisms in that I can do that are healthier and make me feel good. So then you and I connected, and I think you messaged just at this like insanely perfect time. Like the timing was, honestly, I think it was like from the universe for sure coming down. It was just the most beautiful timing, because you reached out for something else. And then, I had that vulnerable conversation with you to say like, hey, like that sounds amazing, but I can't do that because this is where I'm at and I'm having a bit of a hard go. And, you said, why don't you join the 30-day challenge? And now I'm doing that this month, and now just transitioning into the 60. And again, a beautiful group of people, like just the friendships and connections, and like our WhatsApp group is just hilarious and comforting and supportive all at the same time. The girls are just amazing. And it's again, that sense of community that's just almost like reignited my spark, I would say, that kind of went out for a little bit. And then it kind of unfolded beautifully. You ended up being in Dubai for, I think, longer than you planned. And with the timing of the challenge or the asana class, that would have been like, what, 4 a.m. for you, I think?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so had it been Bali time, it would have worked out perfect for you, but you were there and, asked me if I would teach that. And that was just kind of like the beginning, I think, of just this like path that really feels like I'm finally able to see the path that I'm supposed to be on. And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, there's just so many things that you can take away from what you just shared. Like, first of all, I feel like you're an amazing person to be helping out by teaching the yoga classes in the 30-day challenge, because you're the perfect example of like what to do when you have a blip and you start drinking again. It's like, okay, you just like get back on and you try again, right? And it doesn't mean that you're a failure or you're like out of the group. And I just think it's like such a powerful example, because most people don't get it the first time they try sobriety. Like most people, try sobriety and have some blips, and that's normal. And I think you're like a really amazing role model for the way, the attitude that you've taken it and the way you just like move forward. And I love the self-reflection that you shared, which is like, transitions are hard for me. And like, that's what I learned from that transition. And it shows like, you can have a blip and then you reflect on it and you're like, okay, what was going on there that like led me to make that choice? And yeah. And then it was just it's so funny because you and I, we actually had lunch when I was in Canada, like a month, maybe it was like 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. And I asked Kristen if she wanted to teach yoga, and she's like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if I'm ready. And then it just kind of happened that she sort of got flung into the teaching the 30-day class. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I can't teach this class anymore. I like need someone to sub. And I knew Kristen was going to be there. So I was like, can you teach it? And people have loved, her teaching style, and it's been amazing. And now she's gotten like so many people signed up for her classes in the fall. So it's just incredible the way the universe kind of like, Dan calls it like the universe almost puts down breadcrumbs, and you have to like pick up the breadcrumbs and follow them. And I just feel like that's what you're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Like my boyfriend has lovingly said a couple of times that I'm like this, kind of lost soul, like who didn't know what her path was or what her purpose was. And I would say that was true. I was kind of, dabbling here, dabbling there, trying to find that way, and like just feeling so defeated, I think, for the longest time. And then since January, it's just been like, he's even said, like, you're a different person, like all of how this you are. And I credit that so much to MLPC. And like, I so believe in the power of community. And I think that was something I underestimated for the longest time. And even though it's a virtual community, you don't feel like it's a virtual community. And, meeting up in real life was like amazing. And just, there are people around in, cities. Like I think, one of the girls in our 30-day challenge is in London, which isn't far from me right now. And you get to meet people all over. And then I'm so excited and fortunate to be teaching. And you're right, I was like kind of like doubting myself in that self-doubt phase, I think, at that one point in the summer. And now with this, it's been so much fun teaching and prepping the classes and engaging with everybody. And now I'm so excited to be part of the back to school season in September.
Yeah. So tell us about the class that you're going to be teaching then. What is it called? What are you offering?
Yeah. So I'm doing, Wednesdays, Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's mindful flow and let go. And it's really focusing on something that's near and dear to my heart. So I feel like it's the journey I've been on, which is journeying through the self. And so all the different aspects of life, the different challenges that we'll face, and kind of doing a class dedicated to each different theme of the aspects of life. So grounding into ourselves, finding in that transformation, our voices, tapping into self-care and self-love. And it's really, I would say overall, it is journeying through the self, and then really coming into that self-care, that self-love, and just reconnecting with ourselves.
That's amazing. And so that starts on September, what day? September 6th or 7th, something like that.
It is the 7th. Yeah.
Okay. The 7th. And next week, we're doing a free Big Sober Curious Yoga Week. So if you're watching this, if you're listening, we start next week, and Kristen is going to be teaching a free class as well as part of that week. So you can also come try out her class next Wednesday night. And then if you like it, you could sign up for the whole 8-week season.
Yes, I would absolutely love to have everybody. And if you have questions or want to connect, I'm more than happy to always connect. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, wherever. And I'd love to see everybody.
Amazing. Okay, I have a question for you about Zoom yoga. What do you like about doing Zoom yoga? What's different from doing it in person? What are like some of the benefits of doing it at home?
I would say one of the major benefits is just not having to travel anywhere. Like you're in the comfort of your own home. Like I'm literally, cleaning up after dinner, and then it's yoga time. You just go upstairs and roll out. I'm upstairs for mine, and you roll out your mat and you do that. You can have your camera on or off. And so some people prefer it off when they're practicing. And so there's that kind of like ability to make that decision for yourself. Whereas if you're in a class, you're seen by everybody. So you kind of get a little bit more of that personal choice. I personally love it. Just love knowing that you can do it at any time and fit it into your schedule however you see fit. You don't have to take into account the travel time or anything like that. And with the fact that MLPC is worldwide, there's literally classes at all times of the day. So really you can almost make any time work.
Yeah, it's so true. I was thinking about it last night. As I got ready for my class, it was like literally 4 minutes before my class. And I was like moving from the bedroom into the yoga room. And I was thinking about how when I taught yoga in person, I would get ready for class like an hour before class because, I would have to commute. I wanted to be there early, so I wasn't stressed about being late, set up the room. And it's amazing how much teaching on Zoom has improved my quality of life. And I never thought it was like what I needed. But it's just amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times I'd go to a class and then you're trying to rest in the final resting pose, but you're thinking of the next place you need to get or rushing. And then you're just, it's kind of taking away from the purpose of, the class and the self-care practice. So exactly what you said. And what I love too, is you can fit it in if you're working from home, for example, like me, I can fit it in before work starts, lunch, right after work. Like I can flex around that too, which I wouldn't have that ability to do if it was somewhere I had to travel to.
Totally. Yeah. All right. I have one more question for you, is that if someone were listening to this who is curious about sobriety, they're curious about taking the first step into it, but they don't know where or how, or they're a little bit nervous, what advice would you give them?
The very first thing that was what I told myself and what I will say is just dive in, just reach out and just try it. You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. You're supported and loved by a beautiful community that lifts you up. And it's a life-changing experience and you gain so much. And even if it's not for you at the end of the 30 days and you make a different choice, you still the knowledge and support system that you have during that time is beautiful. So I would say absolutely just dive in.
Amazing. Oh, Kristen, so thank you so much. This has been an amazing chat, amazing interview. And for anyone that is listening to this podcast interview, which I'm going to be posting later today, we did this live in the Sober Girls Yoga Facebook group. So if you want to get in the Facebook group and watch some of these interviews live, I'm going to put the link in the episode. So make sure you join. And our next 30-day challenge is starting on September 4th. We do have a limit of 15 people. We have a few people already signed up, which is amazing. So if you are curious about joining, make sure that you jump in and join, and I'll put the link in the episode as well. And we'll hopefully see you at Sober Curious Yoga Week. Kristen and I will both be around there. So we will see you soon.
Awesome.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, friend. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Sober Yoga Girl podcast. This community wouldn't exist without you here, so thank you. It would be massively helpful if you could subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast so it can reach more people. If we haven't met yet in real life, please come get your 1-week free trial of the Sober Girls Yoga membership and see what we're all about. Sending you love and light wherever you are in the world.